but you don't believe in doing your share. But I've learned my lesson, and now I can say the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. Your movies don't thrill me like they used to do. The words only chill me, I'm glad that we're through. My heart was yearning, but now I can see the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. You fooled me a while, you thought you were wise, you even believed I fell for your lies, but the tricks turned on you. Now gladly I say the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. Your movies don't thrill me like they used to do. Your words only chill me, I'm glad that we're through. My heart was once yearning, but now I can say the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away, is dying away. You mistreated me, I tried to be fair, but you don't believe in doing your share. But I've learned my lesson, and now I can say the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. Your movies don't thrill me like they used to do. The words only chill me, I'm glad that we're through. My heart was yearning, but now I can say the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. You fooled me a while, you thought you were wise, you even believed I fell for your lies, but the tricks turned on you. Now gladly I say the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. Your movies don't thrill me like they used to do. Your words only chill me, I'm glad that we're through. My heart was once yearning, but now I can safe. The white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away, is dying away.
Rolling in, recognize the great FourCornersGF, the country music, the video, the rock music, recognize, salutes to the great, the one and only FourCornersGF. Let me know if the microphone is working well. We're just going to expand a little bit upon what we were discussing earlier. And let me move this over here, kind of rushing around to make this happen. But things appear to be working okay. And over the course of this roll in, we have Cash App going. If you would like to financially gift on that platform, your comment will be read 100%. If you would like to financially gift on Entropy, that platform is up and running as well. So is Odyssey and DLive. The links for all of these are in the description below. Otherwise, please tag me as No White Guilt, the @ symbol No White Guilt, and then I will be able to see your comment or question, and I will engage. You all will have heard about this already. I've got to bring up I wanted to look at the marked dice because people said when I just did a roll-in short, this is a regular roll-in going free. When I did a roll-in short just a little bit ago, people said, oh, Dice did, who was it? Sam mentioned, for example, that Andrew Dice, and he also called Karen an anti-white slur. So he covered this. What a chance. We're talking about King Dice here in a moment. So let me see if I can pull that up among other things that we will be discussing here. His video and this issue of the visibly pregnant nurse, white, apparently white, seemingly presenting white. And I will be getting your information as well. If those of you, as a commercial is running, of course. Sometime maybe I should put that up. It's not going to be very long, this commercial. But who's here? White Wolf is here. Stephanie is here. Hello, sister. And tonight, 100% on guard when it comes to snippets of video on the internet. Yeah, exactly. Bane is here. Who else is here? Crystal is here. Hello, sister. Cool Papa J Magic. True Champ. Great to see you, brother. Gray beard with a great name. Wonderful to see you. David is here. If you haven't, there's the great Franklin. Legendary individual that man is. And Jimmy the Italian. Great to see you, brother. Maybe I will phase into and out of my Italian genetics as we are together this evening. But if you would like, and I would like you to, please go ahead and share the URL with your circles of influence. We'll be here for a little while, and you'll get an opportunity to share. And those who are interested, they've never seen No White Guilt. They've never seen Team White Wellbeing in action before. This is how we hit it. It's different than others because we're better. And that's how that works. At least that's what all the ladies tell me. Let's go ahead and get this video up. Mark Dice video. And all the platforms are up and running. We're going to need that audio. Where are you? Not there. There. No? That does appear to be it. All right. And we begin with a commercial. Let me turn these around. There we go. let's go ahead and get started on this. I want to hear what Dice has to say on it. And then I have an article about it, and I will share what I wasn't able to share in the roll-in short just a little bit ago now. One second. Okay. Rolling in here quickly to do this. I got a lot of things going on. I got a lot of things to do, other things to do for white well-being, not the least of which is still working on made a good decision to work on making an audiobook out of It's a Comedy, Damn It, because it has characters that I have to read, and it has a narrator voice that I have to maintain. And that is education. I'm not a trained actor. That's education that I need going into making the audiobook of Prometheus Rising so that it can be as good as I can make it and as powerful, therefore. Pear Lady is here. Great to see you. Is that Beastmaster? That's cool. 0022, great to see you. Graybeard says, we are diamonds. That we are. All right.
Private brands. And they have so many affordable items.
You can just buy all this poison.
Coming up.
And these are the families you never actually see in the real world.
Family loves it.
Just yum. I've just fed them some poison. Just chow down, sons. Eat the poison that I've made. All of this. I guess I was in either 8th grade or 9th grade. And maybe it was 8th grade. And I remember discovering that, well, they put this substance into the food that is tolerable at these levels. And I immediately said, huh, what? Tolerable? Yeah, the body can tolerate it. And I just thought, why would I put anything in my body that it tolerates? I want to consume things that make it powerful. I want to consume things that it readily uses. So it tolerates it. It's not exactly natural, Jason. These things are not naturally found in food. And so but your body can tolerate, there's no worry. And then I immediately did the math in my head. Well, what if all the food companies are doing that? I'm loading all of these tolerable levels as measured in each thing I'm eating. But at the end of the day, how far am I over tolerating? And besides, if I'm tolerating it, that means it's somehow antagonistic to my system. Might it take less for one person than another? And we find out, yes, that's the case. So there you go. It's just a little bit of poison over here at Food Lion. Just a little bit. Look, she's like, I feed my kids poison because I'm at work all day because they don't have a dad. You see him sitting at this table? No, they both have different fathers because I'm just whoring around all day long. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. I just whore around all day long. Got 2 different fathers for these and got one in the oven right now. It's a 3rd father for that one too. And then Kraft and Food Line made it easy on me to just whip it right up in 2 seconds and then stuff it in their faces.
All I need to hear.
Introducing Glass Office Chair Mats by Vitraza, the premium alternative to crack.
We're just waiting for the video where somebody picks up their glass mat and shatters it over to somebody's head at the
curled
workplace.
And worn out plastic mats. Now you'll always get a smooth, easy glide because super strong Vitraza glass chair mats.
Has anybody tried a glass chair mat? I don't know. Something just seems like is about to go bad.
Are engineered to hold over 1,000 pounds.
1,000 pounds. Well, we got folks heavier than that for sure. All right. Look at how happy he is because of his mat, his chair mat.
Never dent. They're also protected with a nanotech coating, and they're beautiful. Comfort.
The nanotech coating, when it reaches a temperature above 57 or below 57 Fahrenheit, emits the chemical into the air so that it gives you a cancer in the sinuses and lungs and heart and brain. This will be the contact your. This will be just like a drug commercial in the near future.
Style, durability,
Okay.
a Vitraza glass chair.
Okay.
You may have seen this viral video showing a New York City nurse having a...
All right. Can everybody hear that okay? Let me know if you can hear it okay. Is Rory here? Hello to Rory if you're here. Promethean promulgation is here. Great to see you. Mike is here. Athenite says, I need uBlock. Actually, it's, I guess I have it, but this is, oh, Rory is here. He says he's in attendance. Excuse me. This is the incognito window. So everybody can hear it okay? Let's roll.
disagreement, an argument with some black teenagers over who has the right to this rent-a-bike, an electronic scooter that you rent through the app, and then the bike rack unlocks the bike.
So these are they really teenagers? They look like they're adults. They're adult size, much larger and more muscular than this woman who appears to be a white woman. And you can see even here where I stopped it, her belly. And so let's just go ahead. Coconut is here. Great to see you, sister.
And you could take it for a ride for however long you pay.
Thank you, Frank.
And they accuse...
Okay, so this is a city bike. You rent these and you use an app on your phone. You're paying. You're paying. It's rented, and you ride to another. And these are very expensive bicycles. As I said in the short, if you don't show back up with it, if it just disappears. So in other words, if these guys just take it from her at this bike rack, then she'll owe, what was it, $1,200 I read in one of the articles. And so that would be distressing. That might cause a person to be afraid. That might cause a person to start breaking down, to start crying. Now, without question, there are cases where females use tears to manipulate the men, manipulate other women in their lives, manipulate law enforcement. Happens every day to men. Happens every single day. It's happening probably 20 times a second across Western civilization. Females using tears to manipulate men, law enforcement, other women, etc. Having said that, every time a female cries is not manipulation. But it is, according to the anti-white narrative, when it's a white female. Even when she's in a job where she has to be able to pull herself together, where people are dying, where babies are dying, even when she finally surrenders to these bastards, these anti-white bastards, which is what they're, and nobody called them black men. There's no man. This is so disgusting to me, especially white women. They'll talk about white guys all the time. They'll even say white boy. And if you say that, it should be slapped out of your mouth, quite honestly. But then when they refer to blacks, it's black man this, black man that. No, if you're talking about an actual black man, a guy who's black and acting like a man, then you can go ahead and give him that title. Otherwise, these are black anti-white bitches. These are punks. Ridiculous. And something that's even more ridiculous is she's probably refers to them as black men as well. And why is this? It's because of the anti-white narrative. And as I said in the short, we're dehumanized, demoralized, demeaned, distressed, devalued, browbeaten, and humiliated as white people. This anti-white narrative informs the totality of our lived experience. This is what we teach in Going Free, the method we teach, the only method that has been that demonstrates to work. Please go tell everybody about it. We're running out of time. The doors are open on the country. And on Sunday, we'll probably be talking about this international rescue garbage that is funded in part by tax dollars, in part by private anti-white financiers, and they exactly say these things, fill the paperwork out this way. You get right into the country. It's your right to have a part of America. No, it's fucking not. Everybody on planet Earth, no, end of the conversation, because I say so. So let's go ahead and watch some more of Mark Dicewith. If you got any questions, make sure you tag me as No White Guilt or Financial Gift. T is here. Hello to you.
Accused her of
Janice, hello. Hello, sister. So just very quickly, she goes up to the bike stand. She's worked for 10 or so hours. She wants to check out the bike to ride home, where she'll check it back in at another one of these stands. And as soon as she checks the bike out, for which she has a receipt, one of these anti-white bastards, well, I think there are 5 total, but I think there are 3 primary, decides they're just going to take the bike. Now, what might they do with the bike? Well, just ride off with it. If it's $1,200, then that would be if they decided to fence it, they would of course take all the names and everything like that off of it, rebrand it or whatever, and then she would be stuck footing the bill. But these idiots made the bad decision to videotape their theft, which is what I believe it is. I don't believe there will be. Are there any charges against them? I don't believe there will be charges, or they'll be overcharged so it's dropped, or undercharged so it's dropped. You just watch. This is what happens. This is the angelized group, and she'll be foot with the bill. So they're just waiting there, and from the articles I've read, they have no receipts. She's got a receipt for the bike she's taken out here that they're claiming is theirs by force, I guess, by anti-whiteism, I guess. But you have to understand, this story is in 2 parts. And we'll see exactly what Dice covers. He might be covering like just the part 1, which is the actual, or level 1, which is the actual event itself. But there's another part to it that we speak to regularly, and that is the psychological component, the anti-white narrative that informs and causes. You see how the ideas make people act in certain ways, and how the audience receives what happened in a certain way. You know, the question is, what happens that I wrote, and I when I shared that I was going to be doing this show, and I put that on my different platforms. What do you call a small pregnant white woman when you see her on a bicycle? Well, according to the West, as a result of anti-whiteism, you call her a thief.
Trying to steal their bike. I know, the jokes write themselves. The incident has made headlines across the country, and the media is calling her the City Bike Karen. City Bike, the kind of rental bike. Karen being an anti-white slur, who the media and the black teenagers
salutes. That's what Sam said. He said in here, salutes to King Dice. It is an anti-white slur. I love it. Let's get some applause. Let's get some raucous emojis for King Dice coming in with anti-white slur to millions and millions, his audience. And then to all of those individuals out there, it ends up being millions and millions. God bless him. E. Essington is here. Great to see you. Swashbuckling flags. Yes, we have Franklin with the swashbuckling flags. Get this man some swash. Get Mark Dice some swash, man. That was some big swash, brother. God bless you. Let's hear that again. When I saw that in the live chat after the fact, Rapunzel actually told me it was in the live chat. I went back and I was like, oh my God. Sam says he said that Karen is an anti-white slur. And I had just said that in that stream as well. We love it. Let's go ahead and listen again.
For the City Bike Karen. City Bike, the kind of rental bike. Karen being an anti-white slur, who the media and the black teenagers involved said stole their bike. CBS News reports New York City hospital worker accused of driving.
Let's just a real quick pause. That do not ever use an anti-white slur, ever. All you do when you use their terminology, you empower their ideology, which is anti-whiteism. Never use their verbiage. Never. And you want to know why? You want to know why you don't do that? We had people, I was on the phone with First Last, and you got these little gatekeeping subversives out there, and they're saying, oh, well, they're the word police over there. Yeah, because there are word criminals out there. And so we're putting an end to this shit for our community, and by way of which, among other things, we're putting an end to the victimization of Western kind. New York City hospital worker accused of trying to take bike from black teens in viral video. This is the most ridiculous, unbelievable thing ever. But if for you to sit back, and that's what conservative content creators, these leaders, these misrulers of conservative America, patriotic America, you want to bet Fox News, they're going to say, well, it just makes no sense. Watch. They'll say, oh, it's just a big joke. They're so quirky over there. You're not getting down into the weeds, into the reality that millions of people agreed to this idea that actually, that's totally fantastical. But guess what happens when millions of people believe in a thing? You get burnt at a stake. It has always been that way throughout history. So you better fall in line. And even if you don't like falling in line, you better fall in line, or your ass is going to end up getting burnt at the stake or swinging in the gallows. It doesn't matter how nonsensical or quirky or silly or insane you want to say it is. Well, golly, the liberals are so silly and sane. Yeah, they're already doing that. They're already people are fired from their jobs, and they need the money for their food. They need the money for their health insurance. They need the money for the place they live. They need their money. If they can make you impoverished so that you live in a box under a bridge somewhere, that's as good as killing you. I mean, at least death, you wouldn't have to endure the day in and day out indignity and rape and who knows what else that can happen as a consequence of having to be shunned, ostracized from society, demonized, stigmatized, and suffer from this. And that's the other level that we'll be talking about at the end of the video, which is this social lynching that takes place. It's taking place of this woman. This was just the first of the indignities. And this is what happens to a defeated people. This is not about to be defeated. This is what people who have been defeated have to endure.
Trying to take bike from black teens in viral video, Bellevue Hospital now investigating. She's been put on leave. So she's lawyered up knowing that she's about to get fired, and a Wikipedia page posted dedicated to doxing her. And her lawyer says that she has the receipt for the bike.
That's all the social lynching that we teach in the Go Free method. If you want to end the social lynching, then you're going to have to start going free and fall in line. No excuses.
That she had actually rented through the app first. The lawyer says after she wrapped up a 12-hour shift, she got on an available bike, which no individuals were on or touching, and paid for it through the City Bike app on
12-hour shift.
Her phone. As she backed up from the docking station, a group of 5 people, 5 black teens, approached her and claimed the bike was theirs. One or more individuals in that group, the black teens, physically pushed her bike.
So what he's pointing out there, he's pointing out that these individuals are black. I would be pointing out that they're anti-white. They're not telling you, but the important thing here, I guess he's sort of saying it without saying it, is that they're not telling you the race of the victimizer here, because that contradicts the anti-white narrative. This is how they take reality, what actually happens, and then they mold it to conform to the anti-white narrative. Now you think, oh, that's just like like some little simple thing that news agencies will do. It is that, among other things similar to that, that has instantiated, has made real, has concretized an artificial reality in the minds of the population. If you don't understand, you don't have to understand. You just got to do what works, so that you can have millions of people socially lynch this woman. And I read in an article that she had to delete all of her social media. She's under investigation. She's hauled before an anti-white tribunal Something else we teach about in the Go Free method, hauled before an anti-white tribunal at work. For what? Because she was videotaped having a disagreement with a non-white person? Why? We explain exactly how. This is far more important than you ever imagined. And all of your like playing political party or just belly aching about some group out there, this group or that group, you just want to talk all day long. Oh, I just want to belly ache. Oh, they're so awful. You're so awful. You're a loser. That's a crutch. Belly aching does nothing. And we have instances like this now. Who would think? I mean, this has been happening for a while, but who would be able to say that we would be sitting here at one point and we'd be saying visibly pregnant white woman on her own, trying to rent a bicycle, is accused of stealing it from 5 black males, and millions all say, absolutely, this kind of thing happens all the time. This is why so many black men are killed. Don't you fucking shrug your shoulders and say, God, they're so silly. Because if we were face to face, I'd slap that idiocy out of you. It's time to wake up, start doing the right thing.
With her on it back into the docking station, causing it to relock.
Forced her, she was on the bicycle. They forced her while she's on the bicycle. She could have taken a tumble, had a miscarriage.
The individuals, the black teens, then covered the bike's QR code, stopping her from paying for it again so she could leave. And by the way, she was pregnant. If the group of teens had been white, then the video would have never gone viral, certainly wouldn't have made any headlines. Nobody would have noticed. But because they're black, now you have the bottom feeders.
No, I disagree with that. If 5 teenagers had accosted a woman, let's say this woman, there would have been news reports to demonstrate how evil the white race is. Just look at them, because that's what the anti-white narrative says. Now, if it had been 5 white teens that are the size of full-grown men or males, and this had been a non-white pregnant nurse, there would be sitcoms. It would be in sitcoms. It would be on made-for-TV movie. There would be silver screen movie. There would be fictionalized books about it. There would be doctoral theses being written about it. There would be theses throughout university and high school written about it. It would be included in the introduction of bills that are already written to be made into law to discriminate against more white people. It would be used incessantly. It would be everywhere. It would be in the news. And you would see the misleaders of patriotic America crafting a feckless argument to push back against the whole thing. Oh, yes, they need to be punished right away. But is it because teens play video games? Who gives a fuck about the video games? You know that's what it would have been.
Just like attorney Ben Crump, who is basically this generation's Al Sharpton. He's on the case. This is unacceptable, he says. A white woman, by the way, forgot to capitalize the word white there, Ben, was caught on camera attempting to steal a city bike from a young black man. Oh, notice how he capitalized the B in black. In New York City, she grossly tried to weaponize her tears to paint this man as a threat. This is exactly the type of behavior that has endangered so many capital B black men in the past.
This guy, this chump, is a rabid black supremacist. He is anti-white as all hell. He's got his banner on his Twitter, and he was the guy I retweeted. So this is obviously this is what happens all the time. And it had millions of likes. Millions. So these are people who are like religious ideologues, these anti-whites. And you think you're going to combat that with people who all they do is bellyache, or all they do is they'll talk about everything else, all the abstractions in the world they won't acknowledge. They're colorblind. They're not going to see where we're getting attacked. You think you're really going to against religious fanatics? So this guy, he decides he's going to delete the tweet because I hope he's sued into oblivion by this woman. Because it was because of him and others like that POS, that anti-white POS, that this woman was socially and continues still to be socially lynched.
But thankfully, since Elon Musk is in control of Twitter, the fake news is getting exposed quite often. With the community notes feature, they're sort of crowdsourced fact-checking, which now added a little fact-checked his tweet that says, since filming this video, receipts have been made available to prove that the woman in question was, in fact, the person who paid to unlock and use the bike.
News 4's Checky Beckford walks us through the now viral dispute that some say could have put those young men in danger.
Well, yeah, I mean, stealing someone's bike definitely could put you into danger. Ben Crump really should get sued for defamation. But unfortunately, this poor woman is probably going to end up losing her job because you're not allowed to be caught on a viral video disagreeing with a black person.
Metro Silverline now has 6 new stops, including
This is the subway in DC. Look at how fun and safe it is. You just
this
get
airport.
on this
It's the easy way to connect with the ones you love. Connect with excitement.
Let's not.
Connect with each other. Connect with the Silverline.
Let's not. Oh, what the heck? Oh my God. Who do they think is going to be watching?
Remember this viral video?
Kentucky Fried Chicken. Who do they think is? I wonder who they might be thinking is watching.
From a few years ago, and this woman was dubbed the Central Park Karen because she called 911 after a black man was harassing her in Central Park and described what he looked like, and so she was deemed racist. Now,
and wasn't this guy who called on her and videotaped her? Wasn't it discovered that he's done this to other people? That he actually goes out looking for white people? I might be wrong on this, but of course, well,
technically she was violating the park rules. She didn't have her dog on the leash, but the way that the black man approached the situation definitely could have been interpreted by any reasonable woman in the middle of nowhere that he had bad intentions. The video only showed part of the situation, but he posted on his Facebook page what he admits he said to her after he was being the Central Park hall monitor and telling her that her dog needed to be on the leash. And she just disagreed, saying that the dog needed his exercise. He said, look, if you're going to do what you want, I'm going to do what I want, but you're not going to like it. And with black men being only about 6% of the U.S. population, but statistically verified to be responsible for over 50% of the total, well, you can understand why she was quite concerned about what he may do. So she was fired from her job, even though, of course,
so we can be disgusted that females use tears to manipulate men, law enforcement, judges, juries, other women for power. And that every single day, probably every minute almost of every day, somewhere in Western civilization, there's a guy who is suffering wrongly by way of a woman's tears. And we have to confront that as a white positive sphere. We have to say that no more, and that's what we say here, let me tell you, no more is the female this is going to continue to hold, I should say, put it this way, going to continue to hold this social and legal leverage over men. Legally and socially, we should be identical, absolutely identical. We are putting an end to this. There's a woman crying. So what? We'll find out what happened. The man is as likely to be innocent as guilty of whatever she's claiming when the tears are rolling. Now, having said that, when you look at stuff like this simultaneously, because we are intelligent and we can think things through, we can look at the effects of anti-whiteism. So she started crying out in the woods and screaming after this guy says, you're not going to like what I do to you. And maybe it was a genuine fear that she was having at that moment. But then again, maybe it was. She was crying because that's the power that she's wielded before to manipulate those around her to do her bidding. We can recognize both as being negative and harmful. Bottom line here is that anti-whiteism has magnified this probably an innate desire and idea in the body of Western kind to elevate the female, because quite honestly, the one thing we can really be, there's one thing I can thank transgenders for. And the one thing I can thank transgenders for is killing the idea that females are better. I and the male population of Western civilization, from as early as we could, we're told this meme pathogen, this idea, that poisonous idea that women can do every single thing a guy can do, but a woman can do it better. And then with a nose up in the air, showing off the deviated septum, they then trod through the world. Don't you know I could do it better because I'm girl boss? We've had to live in that with this poisonous anti-white idea for the totality of my life. And we had to pretend that it was actually true. We had to pretend that it was actually true, because if we didn't, then we were at odds with this anti-white force, this anti-white energy that's pushing everything along to perdition. And we would just be rolled underfoot. And our white women, the majority of them, not the good women that are here, because we have the best here in service to white well-being, but the majority of them out there, they just went right along with it because, hey, over all of these decades, it was good for the white lady. It was good for her because all of that persecution, discrimination, exploitation was only on the white males. And so they just, for their own selfish reasons, it worked out good for them. It just so happens that the chickens are coming home to roost. It just so happens that the chickens are coming home to roost. And part of that coming home to roost is men being able to put on women's clothing because they identify as a woman, and then they go out and they compete intellectually, they compete physically with women, and they kick the shit out of them in every event. And then the same women who would have been saying, who would still be saying if it weren't for the transgenders, they would still be saying today, women can do everything a man can do, but we could do it better. Would still be telling the little boys that. They would still be smacking the men back and forth with that idiocy. Well, that's dead. We now know that's not even remotely close. So as a consequence of being to maybe our ancestors seen as inferior, because in competition with a man, you don't win intellectually or physically. On average, there are individuals, females, who would obviously beat individual males. But when there's an actual competition, well, transgenders are showing us the truth. And you have all the little girls crying over it. The girls of both sexes, by the way, because you have so many Republicans coming forward and they're like, well, we've got to stop this. Why? So we can, Ted, why? So we can get back to women telling us that they can do everything we do, except they do it better? Is that why? Or so that you can make the little jokes and tilt toward your dog of a wife and say, we know, honey, you're better. Got to talk to the boss. Fuck all that. Those days are dead. I'm going to personally put it in the mausoleum, so that we're going to keep it in a mausoleum so we can piss on it for the rest of all time. How does that sound for that mean pathogen? So we have the tears that magnified what was probably innate and instinctual, something we already do in the West, which is we wanted to say, okay, this group is inferior, so we're going to lift them up. Well, then the lifting up became a tool of the anti-whites, and they just took it to the moon. They took it right to the moon. So you've got that, and you also have an environment where an anti-white can go into a park, can see a woman with her dog off the leash, and can antagonize her to the point that there is an altercation, where then society, remember, where is the world, where is reality taking place? It's taking place in the fiction of everyone's minds. The fiction that's delivered to them by way of the news and entertainment media. And then subsequently, the major religions and lodges and politics, etc. You don't understand, you don't have to. It's been figured out for you. You don't understand heart surgery. You don't understand neurosurgery. I got it covered. You just do what works. Bring them to my office if you want your relative to get better. So they take it out to society at large. And what happens? The woman is socially lynched. Using an anti-white slur, by the way. Socially lynched. And then she's also brought before an anti-white tribunal at work and fired. For what? not being anti-white enough, which has been happening in this country for decades.
Situation had nothing to do with her job whatsoever, and she sued for wrongful termination, but lost that lawsuit. That's what happens in New York. The incident even has its own Wikipedia page.
He even said that she sued for wrongful termination and lost. No, you're anti-white. Judge, what do you think? She's anti-white. Bing.
That's how big of a part of pop culture it was at the time. And that incident caused numerous state legislatures across the country to introduce bills and pass them into law that literally criminalizes white people calling 911 on suspicious behavior.
We covered
if
that.
The suspicious party happens to be black, and later it turns out that they actually weren't doing anything wrong. That's what we...
Yeah. Remember, we covered that. And that's going to end up being nationwide. It'll be across the entire West. And so then you'll have to wait. If you're a white woman and some non-white, anti-white is being antagonistic or looking like they are going to do something untoward, criminal, immoral, whatever it is, you have to wait until you've been raped or murdered or beaten, robbed, carjacked. You have to wait until that's actually underway before you can call for help. And of course, you'll be able to call for help then. If you think these laws are bad now, you just wait. Maybe you want to go get in line with those other belly achers, because belly aching has been doing a good job, hasn't it? Just go complain about other races of people. That's only been going on for generation upon generation. Just go be a complainer. And while things get worse, but we'll take care of it.
We would call black privilege and anti-whiteism. But here is my working definition for black privilege. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I define it as undue favoritism often granted to black people in America due to exploiting grievances about injustices in the distant past and laying guilt trips on white people in order to subvert equal rights and blind justice, often stemming from false perceptions of racism where none exists, or fabricating incidents of racism in order to leverage power over white people. Oh, by the way, here
I would, for him to use something like that, he can, as a major content creator on his videos where he's not engaged in conversation with someone else, he could use something like that. For all of you, I recommend no, because the moment you say black privilege, you're going to be seen as an affront to this angelized group. And you're going to, at the same time, while you seem like you're attacking them, you're going to invoke in the mind of your audience, or minds of your audience, white privilege. So for him as a content creator with 2 million people listening to him in his videos, he could do that. But my recommendation for you, your conversation, friends, family, and strangers, don't say black privilege for the reasons I just gave.
Here is an interesting video by a mathematician who I'm sure has been fired from his job for making this video, breaking down the statistics surrounding the 1350 meme. Black people, 13% of the population, but, well, I'll let him explain.
At this point, you've probably heard the 1350 statistic.
I'll let him explain.
And how it might be wrong. God made me Asian for a reason. So the biggest problem with the FBI's 50% number is that those are arrest totals, and that the true number could be different for a lot of different reasons. So I decided to calculate the true number using the National Crime Victimization Survey and what we know about interracial crime. Because if you can't arrest a perpetrator, you can always take a look at the victim. According to the NCVS, 52% of all homicide victims are black and 42% of all homicide victims are white. Using FBI crosstabs, we can figure out that 88% of white murder victims were murdered by other white people, and 81% of black murder victims were murdered by other black people. From there, we get this equation where the total number of white murder victims is the amount of white people murdered by white people and the amount of white people murdered by black people, and the other way around. With some algebra, we convert this into an equation that calculates the proportion of white and black perpetrators. So with this method, we can calculate that the true number isn't 50%, but 60% of all murders were committed by black people.
Well, sir, those are some very interesting calculations. And thank you very much for risking your entire career by pointing out those facts. In other news, the Bud Light backlash continues, and the company is reportedly getting ready to release some special camouflage.
I guess that's it for that story. Yeah, he just risked his entire career for doing that. So it's 60%. Okay. Well, at least I think in that specific category, I don't know what that is supposed to reference. How many categories of crime? So let me see what you all are saying really quickly. And I'll continue with what thoughts I have about this. Hello to everybody on D Live. And hello to anybody, I guess, on D Live. Hello to anybody on Odyssey. And wow, let's get out your raucous emojis, please. 007s. 007s. This one of our greatest has graced us again. Throw some gems at his feet. Toss some 95s into the air. Drop some crowns on his head. Applauding hands. Looks like Coconut was first to the celebration. Who else? Well, Greybeard. No, Greybeard was saying 07 to Lance. 007, 007. Enthonite is in on it. Many and much gratitude to Dude Bro Moment. Are you half the man that Dude Bro Moment is? I doubt it. He is financially gifted 50. No more use of the anti-white slur Karen dollars. God bless you, brother. And he says, for white well-being. Epic. Epic. Get him some crowns. Get him some diamonds. Yeah, there you go. Matt's got some gems to throw at your feet. Cool Papa J Magic with some gems for your feet. Let's drop some crowns on his head. Swashbuckling flags for the great Dude Bro Moment. That's over here at Entropy. He just wanted to show folks how it's done. And a big thank you, Dude Bro Moment. You're a true Herculean champion. Okay, looks like that's our financial gift. Everywhere else didn't miss anybody. Thank you all for chiming in. For that, we should have a, let's see, since Dude Bro Moment showed up again. Let's see, can we do that? Will it work? Maybe for a moment. We'll see. Dude Bro Moment. God bless you, man. Oops, don't want to do that. Stop that. Where are we? All right. So what do I want to say about this? What do I want to add to it? I guess we're going to pull up. Well, you want to just go quickly through this and finish what he has here? Beer, nah. Big salute for King Dice in covering that story so well. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the article. Pregnant New York City nurse accused of taking a city bike from a black man outside. Look, they're lowercase b here. Hospital is named as friends start GoFundMe to pay her legal bills. Let's say legal bills. Oh, maybe for her job because she's been suspended from work because she was seen on a video disagreeing with a member of the. She's white. There's a non-white person. You always have to be deferential in Western civilization if you're white. And that's because of what's been done to us. That's because we've been dehumanized. That's the only way that these things can be happening. That's the only way that anybody would believe in their right mind, because society's not in its right mind. It's being run by this fiction of anti-whiteism, the anti-white narrative, that a small pregnant white woman was stealing a bike, thieving a bike from 5 large black males. It's the only way that it could happen. Sarah Comrie, 36, is a GoFundMe set up by her friends to help pay for growing legal bills. Justin Marino, representing her, says they have the receipts for the bike booked. All right, let's get into the story. Pregnant New York City nurse accused of taking a city bike from a black man outside a hospital has been named by friends as they raise money for her legal fees. It comes as Daily.Mail can reveal the nurse's city bike receipt, which her lawyer claims proves the bike she was clutching in the footage was booked by her as the number on the handlebars matches the document. Really? Well, no shit. No shit. So wait a second. Are you telling me that the claim that 5 black males were renting a single bicycle and then had a small pregnant white woman attempt to thieve that bicycle from the 5 black males is not true? Oh, nah. Come on. This is how insane things are. This is how totally insane. Yeah, one person on the thread on Twitter said, nobody's agreeing with that claim. Millions, you dipshit. Millions are. Those are the people, as I said at the beginning of this, that will set you ablaze and burn you at the stake. And it won't matter how ridiculous or insane. You know how ridiculous it was that people were casting spells over each other up in Salem? You know how ridiculous that? Did people die? Were people hunted down by the mass? You see, if we don't change the ideas going through the minds of people, it's over. It doesn't matter how angry you get about it. It doesn't matter how tough you talk about it's nature's law that only violence prevails or whatever. Well, that violence will be coming to get you. You know why people are acting this way? Do you know why millions are agreeing with something that is patently false? Because of the ideas in their heads. Morons. Ideas don't do anything. It's the ideas in their heads that animate the animal. Stop trying to give your 2 cents on this. All these people unqualified want to step up and try to tell me what to do. Try to tell Team White Wellbeing what to do. Justin Marino, who is representing Comrie, says the documents show that the 6-month pregnant physician assistant had booked the city bike outside of Bellevue Hospital after finishing her shift. The documents show that the ride was ultimately canceled and she was charged and wasn't charged before booking another bike minutes after the incident. So she's got 2 receipts. She's got the receipt for the first booking that these 5 anti-white punks attempted to steal from her, clearly were attempting to thieve it from her. They didn't produce a receipt. So what else could be going on? And I mean, how were all 5 going to get on this bicycle? Is that how that was going to work? Me thinks no. So she's produced the receipt, and you can see in this video that she's trying to just be like, get off, go away. I obviously rented this bike. You know, you didn't, one of you out of the 5 that are together did not lease or rent this bike. It's mine. And then when she sees they're not going anywhere and they have superior strength, they're not going to let her have that bicycle. They're taking it. And so she tries to recruit other people by saying help and by starting to cry. But guess what, white women? You told us white guys to fuck off, didn't you? You told us to just fuck ourselves. You told us you didn't need us. And then what happened as a consequence? Well, generations after generations of white guys have been raised that are ready to submit to white women. And so what happens when the white male coworker steps up? He tries to placate the anti-white punks. Well, just relock it and everybody can buy their bike over again. And then, of course, they tell him to stick it because it's our bike. We're leaving with it. You know, if it wasn't for her, they would have left with it. And she'd have been charged the $1,200 for that bicycle because it would have never shown up. In my humble opinion. And I can't say, let's wait for the jury to find out. Let's wait for the jury to say, because I don't believe there'll be any charges. There should be kidnapping charges. They were detaining her. And she had every right to think that they were going to do something horrible while detaining her. So she tried crying out. And then when she realized she wasn't going to be able to overpower them and no one was going to help her. And so white women, thank yourselves for this. Thank your mothers and grandmothers for this bullshit. Thank all anti-whites for this. Time for you to stop using anti-whiteism to empower yourselves, to be girl boss, to be in charge of the man in your life. Time to start submitting to the authority of men of the West. Tell you what, it's going to come a day when plenty of females out there cry out, help me. Too bad. Too bad. Submit first. No. Okay. Then have at the jungle, because the jungle will eat you. Unbelievable. So nobody comes to her aid, and then she has to capitulate. The bike's already been pushed back in while she's on it and relocked. So she just takes out her phone, cancels that ride, and then goes to order another one. Guess what doesn't happen then? None of these articles say. This is how I know I'm right, that they were just thieves that were trying to steal a $1,200 bike. They didn't rent another bike. I haven't gotten through this article yet, but they didn't rent another bike. Huh. So you're telling me these anti-white pieces of shit that claimed the bike was theirs, that the guy had rented it rightfully, motherfucker, that he had rented it right. They deserve to have the shit stomped out of them, is what they deserve. If they have fathers in their homes, their fathers should stomp the shit out of them. If they have uncles, their uncles should stomp the shit out of them for this behavior. They didn't rent a bike. So were they there? Was that their bike that they rented, or did they decide, well, I just feel so hurt by the whole thing? Fuck you. Let's see. Did anybody else hear that they had rented a bike after that? Because none of the articles I looked at said that. So if they didn't, then we know for sure that it was theft. And we know for sure that this bend over character, bend over chump, Ben Crump, that this lawyer, he would have known that that's problematic for that case, and yet he still socially lynched this woman. Let's continue with a little bit more of this. Snagglepuss has thoughts on HR 61, Representative Sheila Jackson. I'm not recalling what that is. Maybe I'll pull it up. Or Rapunzel could tell me. The receipts show unequivocally that she got the bike first. I mean, she just got the bike, right? But there is no animosity toward the men in the video. Oh, come on. You got to be shitting me. And this is something I was going to say. We don't know how anti-white she is. Maybe she just villainy signals and she's not anti-white. Maybe she's hardcore anti-white. I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. But the bottom line is this could be your pregnant mother, your pregnant sister, your pregnant wife, your pregnant daughter. Another reason why, women, you want your men to feel, you want the men in your life to feel that they possess you. Because if they don't feel that they possess you, then you're on your own, bitches. And as you can see, you can't do shit. If males decide they're going to just do and take whatever they want, you're SOL. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to be able to look at Nickelodeon. You're not going to be able to look back on all your childhood memories of watching anti-white propaganda where the anti-white, non-white males are always there and caring and going to take care of you and protect you from the evil, awful white guy. That just doesn't happen like it does in fiction. Yeah, I'm sure it happens sometimes, but not like fiction where it's 100% of the time. But there's no animosity toward the men in the video. We frankly wish them the best in their. No, I wish them horrible struggles in the rest of their life until they decide that they're going to be law-abiding, moral citizens of these once great United States. I hope that it's just one terrible, nasty life experience after another until they decide, I'm going to live as a proper, law-abiding, moral, ethical member of this society. That's how I hope it works out for them. we want the best for them. Why do they have to talk like this? Because we are inside of the anti-white narrative. Do you want to change that yet? Because inside the anti-white narrative, you have to capitulate to non-white people. If you're white, no matter how anti-white they are, you have to defer to them no matter how he killed the daughter. Remember this, folks? The daughter was raped to death and stabbed to death and strangled to death all at the same time. And then the father says, well, these people bring good food into the country. You remember this? This happens all the time. The little boy, Hennett, rides his bicycle over a corner of a black guy's front yard, and he guns the beautiful little white boy down. Guns. How many people out there have the fortune to have a beautiful little white son, and this monster guns the white kid down, and then the family comes out and says, oh, he loved all the races. What the fuck are you even talking about? Why are you showing obeisance to some anti-white demon god after your little boy is murdered? And we see this again and again and again. We understand how this psychological warfare operates. Stop listening to people who are out of their league, out of their lane, out of their IQ level, and all they have is strings of failures trying to tell you what we need to do, what we should do, we're the only people having success here. And it can only be done in love, hope, and redemption. Quote, the focus is clearing her name and going after the publications and high-profile names that defamed her. She's never going to have a clean name after this. People are going to remember that, especially if something does happen to any of these utes, to any of these utes. If something happens to any of these utes, as the accent goes from New York, then they'll say forevermore that she was the cause of their unfair prosecution. They'll say that anyhow. A fundraiser for the nurse has raised $950, saying a much publicized incident painted her as a, quote, racist Karen. There you have it, which has since proven is a lie, but the damage is a lie? No. You do not pay any heed or respect to their slur. You don't say, it's not true that my client is a racist Karen. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? It's not meant as a legitimate charge or accusation. It is a part of an ideology born in the fevered, demonic, anti-white dreams of monsters. You retort with, both of those are anti-white slurs, and using them identifies you as an anti-white pig. Now what do you have to say? Are you an anti-white pig? The day is going to come because of our work, to shut up the haters the me-nots who hate us, Team White Wellbeing, so much. The day will come when we and those champions like King Dice have promulgated anti-whiteism and anti-white and more of the key concepts and more of the overall concepts from the Go Free method, when a lawyer will be able to retort with, these people are just anti-white. So you think words don't do anything? Words don't do anything? The thing I hate most about service to white well-being is having to deal with people who are incapable of seeing that they're not capable. And they show up to tell me what doesn't work and what will work. Yourselves. Sick and tired of it. Comrie, who had on blue scrubs emblazoned with NYC Health Plus hospitals, could be seen screaming. She didn't really scream. She raised her voice and raising her voice for help and tearing up as a crowd gathered around them when the video first emerged. How many times a day does this happen just in New York, just in that segment of New York, much less the state of New York, the Northeast, the rest of the country, all over the West, where white people are physically intimidated and then have to capitulate because of the combo of the physical intimidation and the ideological, social, legal intimidation of anti-whiteism because of the fear of what? Social lynching, which is what happened. She had to delete all of her accounts. Are you seeing the bigger picture here? The incident is minor compared to the bigger picture, which envelops all of us on a daily basis. Think about the torment on the minds of white people. Every day they go out, we have to fear continually. It comes and goes, being socially lynched. No other race of people has to fear that. Not one. We are the only ones that have to fear that we can lose everything in our lives. We can be ostracized from mankind and end up not being able to pay for all the things we need and end up living as a hated cur under a bridge somewhere. The only people, for the way we think, because we are not anti-white enough. We are not anti-ourselves enough. The only people who have to suffer that. Can I get an amen? We are the only people who have to suffer that throughout our entire lives. That is a psychological torment for which there should be 100 generations of recompense coming to us. The first receipt shows the bike seen in the video was paid for and taken out before it was relocked 1 minute later, identified by the number on the handlebars. Look at this. He's going to be like, look at this here. He's going to be like 30 times stronger than her. So I was saying, how many times does this happen to white people every single day across the Western civilization? And anti-whites just get to have whatever they want. Because it's not being videotaped. It doesn't get out. You're not going to be able to sue. She would just lose her job. The only way that she has a chance going before this anti-white tribunal of not losing her job is backlash from the public. And still then, it's snowball's chance in hell. Everybody who said amen is better than everybody else. Second receipt, he says, is proof of the second bike being taken from the same docking station, which Comrie used to ride home. And what psychological toll has this had on her? Seriously, you're going after a 12-hour shift, you haven't been sleeping. I wonder how much work the 5 guys all put together did that day. 12-hour shift, pregnant, 6 months into pregnancy. By the way, just pointing out that, I made those comments about pregnant women. They can still work. They can say, our women have done this forever. Yeah, everybody, I hear crickets from you now. Oh, you got nothing to say now. You got nothing to say. How dare you? It was all of these anti-white females that are in the white sympathetic sphere. They all came running out. How dare you not capitulate to an excuse given by a woman? You should know, Jason, always to capitulate to women. How about you? How about that? I'm not going to capitulate. I don't care how many of you ugly crone bitches show up to try to tell me what to do. It's always going to be some sort of an excuse. So here we have it. Just what was a couple weeks, and here we have a story in the news of a 6-month pregnant woman working 12-hour shifts and riding a bicycle home. And then the Simpian army that showed up. We're the Simpies. We're the Simpy army. It's unbelievable how many guys in the white sympathetic sphere think they're tough. And then they're just simps. They're just little simp bitches. Oh, my lady, how can I serve you? Well, this guy over here said that pregnant women shouldn't just be immediately capitulated to, and therefore the man always in service. Oh my God, I will attack my lady. Losers. All right. He says Comrie has since been put on leave by New York City Health and Hospitals after the encounter was caught on tape, but added the interaction was incomplete and lacking fact. Like, he has to add. He has to add. Are you insane? Well, this actually isn't showing all of the facts in this video. It's incomplete. Well, no, the video looks pretty complete to me. Not for one fucking second do I believe the little pregnant white woman who just got done working a 12-hour shift was attempting to thieve a bicycle from 5 full-grown black males. Not for a fucking second. I don't need more context. All right? Because I live in the real world, because I reject anti-whiteism. Pregnant Comrie reportedly had just finished a 12-hour shift before getting on an available bike, which no individuals were on or touching, and paid through the app. His statement added, one or more individuals in the group physically pushed her bike with her on it back into the docking station, causing it to relock. In blocking the QR code, this individual's arm was touching my client's pregnant stomach, a condition for which she had made them aware. Throughout this time and for the remainder of the video, roughly 5 individuals were telling her to get off the bike and heckling her. The fact, I'm sure that just went over well with her psychologically. I'm sure that went over well. Every woman out there will know exactly what I'm talking about. There's deep fear from that sort of thing happening. We're anti-white bastard monsters. Just decide, no, we're just gonna forgo the law, ignore the law, ignore your norms because we've white erased them of how males are supposed to treat females, and we're just taking whatever we want from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, she suffered psychologically as a consequence of this. All right. Let me just continue with this, and I'll get to that. The fact anyone would treat another person like this is tragic, especially a visibly pregnant woman. The New York lawyer then went to defend his client's reputation, saying her entire life has been focused on helping others, irrespective of their background. Now, here comes the villainy signaling that just makes me want to fucking puke. No, my client and me as the attorney, me, Marino, the attorney, we're just anti-white as they come. My client just hates white people. I mean, how many times do I have to be proven right in this one story about this story specifically, and then the pregnant thing from a couple weeks back? And you notice how they're not talking about abstractions. No, it's racial service, racial obsequiousness. Why? Because the white race and the anti-white narrative is the demon. Time to do away with this narrative. Daily Mail has contacted Bellevue Hospital for comment, but has not received a response. Well, of course not, because they put a woman on leave for disagreeing with non-white people on video. 90-second video of the incident posted on TikTok and Twitter and shows Comrie arguing with the man outside of Bellevue. How about the anti-white terrorist? One of the man's friends tells Comrie he is recording the situation as the man has his hands on the bike. She then screams for help. And what did we see? We did the video a couple of months back with the white guy that was about to get the absolute piss beat out of him by 3 large black males. He stupidly got within striking distance and then turned his back on them twice. They were videotaping that because it's fun to harass, intimidate, brutalize, beat the shit out of, disfigure, maim, murder the dehumanized group. That's fun. You just put it up online. Everybody has a good laugh. Folks, we are in a much worse condition than many of you probably realize, especially the females out there. Because you're still thinking, so many white females out there still thinking, I get a little bit of anti-whiteism to serve me here. I get a little bit there. That's going out the door fast. She then takes off her hospital badge in an apparent effort to hide her identity, as one of the men could be heard asking her, "You know, you're not getting this bike." So she's trying to conceal her identity from these websites where anti-whites load things up, and then they go after her. So now she's got to worry about, they have her identity. He videotaped that and posted it, that piece of shit. How about 9 or 10 years in prison for that? How about 9 or 10 years? Because that's probably how long she's going to suffer psychological trauma. I'm sure they're already receiving death threats at her house from anti-whites, because it's fun, because it's the right thing to do, because white people that don't capitulate need to learn how to capitulate. White people deserve it. Been told that in the entertainment media all along. How many people have already shown up at the house? Has there already been destruction done to their property, their automobiles, their home? Will they tell anybody for fear that telling people will seem like they object to being victimized? And then that excite more anger from anti-whites in an environment where law enforcement and society will not protect you from that sort of thing? Law enforcement will turn its head the other way, and most of society will applaud it. Three decades, 30 years I've been listening to the imbeciles, to the bellyachers say, the only thing that's going to change this is if... No more of your excuses. No more belly aching. You're just a fucking coward. That's why you're not doing anything. You're just using that because you're a coward. It's your excuse. She screams for help, tries to get onto the rental bike, and swipes at the man's phone that's recording her. "Why are you taking his phone?" one of the man's friends asked. What's wrong with you? Do not touch his phone. Do not touch his phone, he tells the hospital employee. Comrie then tells the man that he's hurting my unborn baby, to which the man replies, "You put your stomach on my hand." I'm sure that's what she did. I'm sure. But to millions and millions in society, that's exactly what she did. The woman then turns around and starts to once again scream for help, at which point one of the co-workers approaches. The man tries to explain, "This is my bike, it's on my account," and tells the woman to please move. If it's on his account, which he didn't, nobody says here, I still don't see anything in this article about him getting another bike. Why didn't he just show the male co-worker, the bitch co-worker, "Look, this is the bike I just checked out. I don't know what her problem is." Why didn't he do that? At that point, the woman can be seen apparently crying, though the man's friends say they are fake tears. That's what they'll be saying. That's what anti-whites will be saying to you, white ladies, white males, white little boys and little girls. That's what they'll be saying when they maim, rape, bludgeon you to death. They're fake tears. That's how anti-whites, and anti-whites are all racist. That's how the anti-whites behave. She then continues, in my opinion, of course, she then continues to climb onto the bike, hysterical with tears, as her coworkers suggest they just reset the bike. But the man's friends continue to defend him, saying, it's his. Okay, then just show the proof. One of the friends then accuses the woman of fake crying, tells her to stop, while the man asks her to stop touching me. Yeah, that's what's happening. She's touching him. She's physically just overpowering him. Fucking piece of shit. How about a little waterboarding for that motherfucker? How about that? Comrie then steps off the bike, apparently stops crying, tries to pull it together, cancel that bike, and get a new one. I guess she probably realized it's locked again. I will just cancel it, and now they can't steal it, and I'm on the hook for $1,200. And I got everybody around me, so I'll just get a new one. Clearly, I just ordered it. There it is. I'll take it out. And then she's mocked by these five. Not a tear coming down, miss. What happened, miss? you. This is the kind of situation that I would love to be there. There are 5 of them, so give me 4, or we could have even less. Give me 2 more men of the West, and we'll correct the problem right there on the spot. Be a quick correction. Be a course correction for these 5. Under City Bike's policies, and by the way, not for that female. I don't know anything about her. Not for her as an individual. For Western civilization, it'd be a quick correction. For Western kind, of which she might hate, for all I know. She probably does. Under City Bike's policies, anyone keeping a bike out for longer than 45 minutes charged an extra 17 cents for each additional minute. Whoa, okay. And may have their account suspended. If a customer does not return a bike within 24 hours, the account holder will be charged $1,200 plus tax. Yeah, that's what she was. That's what she was seeing in her mind. I don't have $1,200. I got a baby coming. Spokesman for the police department said it did not receive any 911 calls or reports about the incident. Well, I'm sure because she's afraid. And that's also the future for Western kind. It's like our present in South Africa and Rhodesia. That's our present there. Call the police? I don't think so. There's likely to come here and participate in the victimization. A spokesperson said did not receive, they weren't aware of the video. Meanwhile, Bellevue Hospital said in a statement it's investigating the incident. Quote, we have recently become aware of an incident that occurred off campus over the weekend and appears to involve one of our employees. We are sorry this happened, and we are reviewing the incident. Can you believe this? The people in charge of the hospital, the people who will take care of your relative if they end up there, they're like, white woman, 6-month pregnant woman after 12-hour shift, 5 full-grown black males, and they're like, we're remaining neutral here. We're remaining neutral. Those are the people in charge of taking care of you or your relative at Bellevue. Bain says, I wouldn't want you to be there. This system is merciless. We cannot afford to lose you to these demons. Well, I appreciate that. And I would do my best if that happened to not be taken out by the system for doing the right thing. This incident had been compared to Amy Cooper, dubbed the Central Park Karen, all anti-white slurs there, who called the police on a black bird watcher in 2020 and lost her job. Cooper, who accused a black bird watcher of threatening her in 2020, lost a lawsuit again against her former employer for firing her after the incident in September 2022. So let me just point something out. Since 2020, we have had fabulous successes with not only the opposition of anti-whites, but massive opposition from within the white sympathetic sphere. All of those people who want to just like J-Spurg and who want to just talk about data and all this other things that are out there, how much success have they had since 2020? Have they put an end to this? How about 30 years of having to listen to that shit? How would you like that? Would you finally be at the point where you're like, why don't you yourselves? I've been there for a long time. They don't do anything. Every year. So you see a woman gets fired from her job and then loses her lawsuit because she's fired and loses her lawsuit because she's not anti-white enough. And so when she was fired, I remember this. We were on the internet. Shows. And a lot of these spurgs were out there saying, the only thing that's going to change this is violence. Okay? Well, when are you going to get started? Well, they can't arrest all of us. Well, are you going to be one of the first? Are you going to be one of the ones that get to go to prison for the rest of your life? And then the rest are not the ones who are not going to get arrested for life? You're going to be one of those? Apparently not. Well, you know whose fault this is? It's all these people. I just got charts and cartoons to show you endlessly. Really? You've been showing those charts since 2020, since this happened to her. And has it gotten better or worse? Maybe this whole chart and cartoon sharing is bullshit excuses to be a gatekeeping subversive motherfucker. Maybe that's all it is. Oh, that is all it is. How many of y'all do? Just do this little exercise. Take an incident over the past 3 years, over the past 10 years, over the past 20 years, and then try to add up in your mind how many times you've heard people say, Jay Spurgeon out, that it's all this group's fault, or that it's time to get violent, or it's going to have to take violence. How many times have you heard them? Count it up. And all of that talk, all that belly aching, all the big talk, nobody's ever doing anything because they're excuses for cowards to do nothing. And those things also accomplish nothing. They certainly would not. None of those things serve white well-being. None of those things. And that's the big difference. Those people are on fundamentally different objectives. Our objective is to end the victimization of white people for the benefit of all peoples. Their objectives are to harm whole other groups of people one way or another, etc., but not to end the victimization of white people. That's why it doesn't get any better. The following day, May 26, 2020, Franklin Templeton said in a tweet, which was liked 277,000 times, that it performed a legitimate investigation and determined indisputably that Cooper was racist and terminated her. So her employer determined she wasn't anti-white enough. Is that it? Yeah, it should end there, for the love of God. All right. So here is the... Look at this piece of garbage. Look at that. How do you like that? This guy, he's got 685.6 thousand followers. He's showing a salute of black supremacy, as I've always encountered it. Calls himself civil rights advocate, and a lawyer, founder of national law firm. And he used this colossal platform to get millions of likes on an accusation based in pure fantasy. He should be sued out of existence, in my opinion. And he knows that he was wrong. He deleted that tweet. All right, let's see what y'all have to say, and then I guess I will get out of here. We'll be back Sunday. I'm sure I'll do another roll-in short, not another regular roll-in, but a roll-in short. We have Vincent is over here on Entropy, $5. Tag me now if you want. If you said something and I missed it, tag me again and drop it in the chat again, and I'll have a look. Vincent says with $5, thank you, brother. I used a shared bike yesterday, and 10 minutes after putting the bike in a rack, I got a notification saying that I did not put it right and that it was unlocked. I came back to the station in 20 minutes later, and it was gone. Meme magic is real. Wow. Oh. Stolen. Are you on the hook for it? I mean, did they know it was there, but not? I mean, how's it going to work out for you, brother? Let's see. He's got another financial gift here. $3 more. Thank you so much, Vincent. He writes, the phone support is telling me it will probably be back in at the end of the week. Someone will find it. But if the crackhead decides to throw it in a river, it will cost me thousands. Oh my God. I'm really sorry to hear that. Jesus. Well, let's hope Let's hope for Vincent's sake, send him some positive energy that the bike is found and it's returned and he doesn't know anything for it. My God. So that's exactly what this woman was looking at having happen. God, I'm sorry about that, man. I hope it ends up, let us know. Let us know exactly what ends up happening for you. Despicable. You know, if we were in the West, ladies and gentlemen, if we were in the West, if a white man like me came upon the bike and I was like, oh, look, it appears to not be locked in there properly. If I knew how to lock it, I would lock it. Just like you're finding someone's wallet, I would lock it, because that is our expectation of behavior. That we have demonstrated that we internally police ourselves. We don't need massive force, or massive show of force to keep us from just screwing everybody over around us. For some reason, they need that in other countries. I don't know why. Or at least that's what I've been told that they have, and that's what I've read that they have in other countries. So who knows why, though? But that's what a white person, a healthy, normal white person would do. But we're not in, and also a good non-white person who's in the West and they come upon and they see the bike unlocked. Why? Because they know that is requisite for civil society, for polite society, for a non-violent society. It's requisite to maintain their rights. They know this. And at the very end of the day, it's because we would want that to be done for us. If we forgot the bike, we would hope that a good person would find it and lock the damn thing. But no, our norms have been white erased. In fact, our norms have been declared evil. Thieving the bike and Vincent having to pay for it, that's the way it should be in the anti-white West now. All right, looks like we got nothing on DLive or Odyssey. Let's swivel around to here. I'll take a quick look. So it appears that bill by Sheila Jackson, H.R. 61, is the, quote, Leading Against White Supremacy Act. And we actually covered it here, went over it a while back. So it'll probably be in one of the titles. And I don't remember the particulars about it. Let's see, we have looks like is that CLU? Promethean Promulgation. David Mason. Roger. Adavium, and is asking vigilantism. The idea of vigilantism is in people's minds, has been expanded to include all behavior that society, that the West used to exhibit to maintain civil society, to maintain a Western civilization. So in other words, if somebody's kid was being bad, other adults would say, hey, don't do that anymore. Don't behave that way. That's not right. If somebody was going to shoplift in the West before, people would stop them. You're not allowed to do that. Why? Because we want a civil Western civilization. Now, the idea of a leader or several gathering a group of people, firing them up with the rhetoric of a firebrand to go and find an alleged murderer, rapist, or whatever it is, and then execute the person because the law enforcement has failed to do it, or the law enforcement won't do it because it's corrupt or whatever it is. That has been expanded to correcting somebody else's child. That's now vigilantism. And why is that? That argument is made to white erase our norms and standards and expectations of behavior. Cool Papa J Magic says, I say anti-white privilege sometimes. Should I not say that either? You mentioned earlier that we shouldn't say black privilege because it invokes the thought of white privilege. Anti-white privilege would not be as bad or problematic for you in conversation as saying black privilege would. That would be much worse. But you probably don't want to bring up the word privilege unless you're really stuck and you just it was your go-to or whatever, and you just got to use it in a specific case. But generally speaking, it's mostly innocuous, but in that sense, but not entirely, because you're still, just by saying privilege, you're going to evoke in the minds of your audience white privilege. And now you're having a contest with their subconscious mind, which is going to be infinitely faster than you, and it's going to be making use of all of their memories. And not only that, but the subconscious mind is conveying to them all of the emotions as well, whereas you can't do that as the speaker in a normal conversation. Like if I'm speaking to a big room of people, I can communicate an emotion, but it's an original emotion, whereas the subconscious mind supplies a learned emotion and much more powerful as a consequence. So it could undermine your effort a little bit, depending on the person you're talking to. So mostly innocuous, but definitely better than you. Now, somebody like Mark Dice with millions of listeners, and he's not going to have pushback from anybody when he's making these videos. He can toss something out there like black privilege. It's more, in that sense, it's almost more like it's just like a snark than a literal point that the person will receive as something serious. For example, you know that you have certain friends that are maybe just like class clown types, and when they say things to you, you receive them in a lighter way, a more of a superficial way. And then you will have had friends that are grave in the way they are. And everything they say you take very seriously, even if they say something that's not important. Snagglepuss, please do look into HR 61. Well, that's the thing. Snagglepuss, see if it's in the titles of any of my videos. And because I did go over it, some more of the details. I can't remember the details right now. We've gone over a lot of bills. But Scape says, try to find that nurse and have her on the show, bro. Their brother, there is no way. I don't think there would be an amount of money that I could pay her, that anybody could pay her to get her to come on. I mean, she's running for her life right now. She's running for her life. Deleted all her social media because of the social lynching. It'd be nice though. I mean, at least to get her side of the story directly from her. Although, we can see what's going on there, right? All right, we have Bane. Bane says, I wouldn't want you to be there. Right, the system is merciless. We can't afford to lose you to these demons. Yeah, thank you. If you were someplace and there was something that happened, and I don't recommend, because look at the guy we did the roll-in short, the guy in California trying to stop the legal shoplifting, and Look at Penny on the subway, and now he's charged, as we suspected he would be. If you're in one of these scenarios, wait for either just get away, you don't do anything in this anti-white world, or if you see something coming that's bad and you can help the person get out of the scenario somehow without it being an altercation, take that route. You got to be smart. We're a defeated people. We need to stop thinking of ourselves as about to be defeated, because when you're thinking of yourself with an incorrect appraisal of where you are, you couldn't possibly ask the right questions about what to do. And if you can't ask the right questions about what to do, you can't get the right answers, even if you could arrive at them. So we're defeated. We've been defeated for a long, long time, long before our births. We have been defeated. And in my opinion, and evidence, of course, of it is that this is how a defeated people is treated by its victimizer. There's just no humanity. It's endless browbeating. It's endlessly demeaned. It's stuff like this. This is a defeated people, just being, you're subjugated. We are a subjugated people. That's more of like an appropriate word. Because not only have we been conquered, but we have been put under the heel of our victimizer, which is people of all races who are anti-white. We have Western Kind United. Thank you, good brother. $2.50 on Cash App. He says, "Hails, brother, for white well-being." I appreciate that. Thank you so much. A big hails in return to you. And looks like he returned with a second $2.50 for yours truly. Thank you so much for that, Western Kind United. He says, "In memory of confused brothers that reject unity." I think you're talking about some of these out here just keep objecting to what we're doing, and then they show up as saboteurs to try to undermine us. So thank you so much for that. $5 white well-being dollars from Western Kind United. God bless you, brother. All right. Let me see if there's anything else in here. Anybody else? Oh, so we have one of these people who, one of my Herculean, my magnificent troll slayers took care of, and it's probably Franklin. Franklin is like, he's like a combo of like a Viking warrior and a Spartan. And he's not taking anything off of trolls that show up. And trolls can be trolling to various degrees. Sometimes they're just a hardcore, like anti-white crypto. Sometimes it's an anti-white openly. Sometimes it's somebody from the white sympathetic sphere who just has really dumb ideas, because those ideas continue to perpetuate themselves. And in part, it's organic, and in part, it's paid for by anti-whites. Any of these groups that look like the villains, the big groups that look like the villains in the movies, they're paid for by anti-whites, my opinion, but been around for a long time. Anyhow, so we got a guy that's saying that that had his comments deleted, as they should be, trying to say that, oh, this psychopathic murderer, or that psychopathic murderer, tried to violently push back by killing innocent people. That's what you call violently pushing back against the victimization of white people, killing innocent people? You need help. You need a therapist. You need a therapist. That has nothing to do with white well-being and ending the victimization of white people. That behavior legitimizes the beyond legal means that are used against white people to oppress, suppress, etc. So to point to the good people, so to point to psychotic individuals and say, well, they killed some innocent people, so it's not true that people aren't violently going out and trying to achieve their objective, is sickness, man. Get yourself a therapist. You need help. Good God. And this is not the world for you. Why do such people see us standing up for white well-being, to put an end to the victimization? We make it very clear. Everyone of every race, and I always have made this very clear, is welcome here to help us stop anti-whiteism, because we can all clearly see that that is the illness that is destroying the West today. So good people, non-white people that are good folks, either because they see it as immoral or because they see it as self-preservation. They don't want to lose their rights. They don't want to lose the civility. They don't want to lose all of it that's being taken away by way of the argument of retributive, the moral argument, moral in the anti-white narrative, the retributive justice against white people. They see, I'm going to lose everything if this doesn't stop, or a combination of both. They participate here. They're welcome here. And all of these people, as I just pointed out, are collateral damage of what's being done to us. So we welcome everybody, and we point out that when we end, and as we are ending the victimization of Western kind, everything gets better for everybody. So these ideas, these folks out there use the excuse, the pretext that they want to, the awful things that they say, that they want these awful things because of white people, is just a lie. It's not for white people at all. They've been standing 30 years. I've been watching these people stand by, say these awful things, do nothing, and watch as we get more and more victimized by anti-whites as a consequence of their behavior. And they keep going. So are they anti-white? Are they for white people? You look at what just happened in Florida. There is a direct ABC. It can't get any simpler. The gatekeeping subversives in Florida go out, they terrorize another community of people. Then, as I said would happen, they write a bill that they can use against those people, and anti-white prosecutors could dilate to use against somebody like me by trying to define well-being of white people as is in the anti-white narrative in every case is the victimization of non-white people. And then that bill gets made into law, victimizing the entire white race in Florida. There should be, if these people had any shame whatsoever, they should all immediately quit and never talk again. They just victimized the whole state of Florida by their behavior. And yet they're still there, right up in your face, saying that, no, you've got to adopt their cult. You've got to only speak in their language. You've got to only use their words. You've got to only focus on these groups of people that are out there. And if you're not doing that, then it's all of the endless slanders to get people to reject you, to get people to turn away from you. These people are the gatekeeping subversive. They're scum. They're absolute scum. They just are responsible for breaking up Patriotic Alternative and making that into totally decreasing its power, its reach, etc., by way of the purity spiraling that took place after yours truly was thrown out for not wanting to demonize an entire group of people on the basis of their birth. And then it just went to hell. It was just like, okay, who can set the litmus test higher? And these people, no shame. They're still right there, pushing the same shit that victimizes white people again and again and again and again and again. Doesn't do anything. They're not actually doing anything. They're just belly aching, with the exception of like this guy trying to laud scum. Get a therapist, bro. Seriously, get a therapist. This psycho tried to do something. This psycho went and killed a bunch of innocent people while they were at church. You're wrong. Man, get a therapist. Jesus. Could you imagine? Could you imagine thinking, well, this psychotic person that killed him, what kind of a being does that come out of? What kind of an emaciated, skeletal, diseased, tumor-ridden freak does that kind of a thought come from? We're not going to let these gatekeepers, these gatekeeping subversives, stop us from bringing in quality people and keeping quality people anymore. They have nothing to do with us. Do not look at these J-spurging, gatekeeping subversives as in any way similar to us. Their avatars are irrelevant. Their pretexts are irrelevant. They don't ever do anything except bellyache. They're not doers. They're cowards. And they have an objective of harming other groups of people rather than ending our victimization. They have nothing to do with us. And we're really going to draw that line nice and deep in society. Nice and deep. Because I'm tired of watching good people leave and organizations crumble because of this scum. Tukoloshi says, being that it is in New York, chances are that she was more anti-white than her attackers. Yeah, she might be. So it's not, I'm not having a whole lot of sympathy for her in her person. I don't know anything about her. I can sympathize generally, and I do sympathize generally with that intimidatory situation. You live in this ferruginous city where it's just all these creatures, and you can't, some of them you don't even know what the hell they are. And, whether it's a rat from the wharf or what. And then you have these 5 adult, fully grown or nearly fully grown individuals surround you. I could totally sympathize with that fear. But her as an individual, I don't know. She might give a giant chunk of her pay to anti-whiteism and participate in anti-whiteism. Who knows? Scott's here. He says, top of the evening to you, Jason. Well, big top of the evening to you too, brother. Franklin says he had anti-whiteism too. You might have missed it. I definitely heard it. Oh, he said anti-whiteism. Did he? I missed it. That's awesome. So he said anti-white slur and anti-whiteism. Nice. That's awesome. That's King Dice, ladies and gentlemen. That's King Dice. All right. They were the reality she refused to accept. Oh, yeah, if she is radically anti-white, then this definitely would be, the chickens coming home to roost. This definitely would be that she's reaping what she has sowed, and that's awful. But it's so many white women are reaping what they have sown over the course of their lives. Because it was, even though the course, probably any white woman in her 20s has benefited from anti-whiteism. I don't know how many benefits there'll be left for those that are younger. There still are, but how much, I don't know. But have benefited from anti-whiteism. But those benefits are running out, and the victimization is growing. And I can tell, I would say it to ladies again. If you want us to protect you, you better make us feel like we own you. Because if we don't own you, then you're on your own. That's the reality. That's how it works. Vincent says the phone support told him the fact that he called under 10 minutes helps my chances of not being charged. Okay, thank God for that. $1,000. I would get lightheaded if they were like, you'll have to owe $1,000. Elaine is here, the great Elaine. Hello, good sister. Lunder is here too. He says, scroll up slightly, Jason. Did you tag me there as well? Or no? I see Lunder says more like top of the hour to you. Was that what you wanted me to see? World Conqueror is here. Hey, buddy. How's it going? He says, instead of saying it's like Hitler should, we say it's like Mugabe. Oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of saying it's like Hitler, should we say it's like Mugabe? Not going to be nearly as effective, because the vast, vast majority of your audience is not going to know even who that is. And then the percentage, that tiny percentage who know who it is, they are not going to know the extent of the crimes. They're going to have banal takes that they read New York Times or whatever. And so then that would require you to use a bunch of your time to educate your audience on Mugabe. And now, if you're in a country where everybody knows and the monster, then of course. But elsewhere across the West, no. The reason why people can use the painter and it just invokes, even everywhere, everyone invokes like this ominousness, this darkness, this dark cloud, these dark feelings of pain and tears and blood and innocence slain, and is because we have whole lifetimes of receiving it. That's another reason why I have argued so vehemently against these historical revisionists and their ideas. It's preposterous. It's absolutely preposterous to think that you're going to, take back what people know and believe about him. Give me a break. We're going to rehab his image. All right. Good luck. You're going to lose. I can guarantee it. Tocolo, she says, they were the reality. Okay, I saw that. Well, I don't see what Lunder could have said. Franklin does rock. Fenson said, Mugabe looks like a Ninja Turtle, and said HIV can be prevented by showering more. Well, sure. See, that's like an insane, that's just like a crazy thing. That lands on white people in a way they just think, wow, that's just absurd. What a joke. They're not, and you see the difference between that and the painter, the emotions that are brought up then, the feelings, the fears, the angst. So we have to tackle the problem of our victimization where reality is. And reality, as I'm using it here, the word here, is not out there. It's not in the books that you might, find on the subject. It's not in like a scholastic juxtaposition of this leader versus that leader. I mean, you'll sometimes see these misleaders of the misled patriots, misled conservatives, who will take like Stalin and try to juxtapose that to the painter or others to say, look, this is the real threat, because they want to just call everything communist, because they're not given any, they don't want to look at the gaping hole in the wall, which is race, where they keep attacking us. The retributive justice against us. They don't want to look at it because they're told by their leaders, their misleaders, misrulers, that it's unethical, it's immoral, and it really part of the anti-white ideology. It's a part of anti-whiteism that they've adopted. wholesale, that everybody is the same, that it's just colors, it's just different colors, and that it's immoral. I mean, you can go to a conservative get together and you will find people there that will just like vehemently, emotionally say that it is immoral to bring up race at all. Those are old mean pathogens that anti-whites hit white people up with. That it's just skin, it's just a matter of melanin, and it's not even speaking to the argument of differences between races. So don't fall into that trap, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. Don't fall into the trap of, well, I got all kinds of evidence. You're like American Renaissance people were like, they'll be like, get a Woody just there. Wait a second, I've got piles and piles of all the differences. No, that's not why the anti-white psychological warriors have or made that mean pathogen. There was never an intent. They never actually thought that there were no differences between different groups of man. That was just part of another plan to get you to lower your fists against what they wanted to do to you. And now, as happens with so many of the MPs, they get adopted by the misled conservatives and misled patriots. And then they end up at the parties and they say, no, you can't look at the giant breach in the wall. You can't defend this breach in the wall of retributive justice against white people, because when you say white people, you're defending the white race, and that's race, and that's immoral. And worse yet, the most immoral thing you can do in Western civilization is defend the white people against victimization. That is the most immoral thing that you can do in Western civilization. So why is that? Back to my point. Because the reality that's in the world that we have to deal with is in the heads of your audience. And they've been taught things that are contrary to reality. No good going to them and saying, well, that's not true. Well, this is not true. Because that subconscious, it has imbibed all of the narrative, all of the fiction, all of the scenarios, the countless scenarios as true. It doesn't know the difference. So you sound like an insane person. When you go up to people, and it amazes me, you have people from the white sympathetic sphere, they just talk to each other all the time. Then they try to talk to somebody out on a street corner somewhere, and the people around them are like, are you crazy? You're crazy. Piss off. And then they throw their hands up. What am I supposed to do? Stop being dumb. Follow No White Guilt and Team White Wellbeing. That's what you should do. Do you want to stop the victimization of white people? If that's actually your goal, then come on board. If your goal is to harm Jewish people, go away. Go away, and the faster you go away, better. Don't want to have any. You want to be a noticer. You know what these people call themselves, noticers? You know what the real name for it is belly aching. What are you going to do with the noticing? Nothing? Seriously, how have I had to deal with this for 30 years? I notice. Good for fucking you, buddy. Good for you. Keep belly aching. Keep complaining about it. And go away. I'm a noticer. Could you imagine being proud of that? Could you imagine you're like, maybe you're with the tribe in an earlier age, and they're like, they sent the scouts out. We're starving. We don't have food. Maybe it's the Virginia Dare and that company. We're all starving. We don't have food. We sent out some scouts. What did you find, Scout 1? Nothing. Didn't see anything. What did you find, Scout 2? Nothing. No food out there. What did you find, Scout 3? I found tons of food. Yeah, there was like all kinds of animals. There were like bison and things to eat out there. There were like cow things out there. Did you kill anything? No, I noticed them though. I noticed the hell out of them. You know how quick they would kill him and eat him? He would deserve to be eaten. I noticed the hell out of it. You could do that with every problem. It's just like so many guys in the house today. They're so they don't feel like they might pay for half, they might pay for all, but they don't feel like they own any of it because the wife is in charge or the girlfriend's in charge or even the daughter is in charge. And the guy just ends up sitting on his ass, lackadaisical, putting everything off forever until they're in the ground and they don't have to deal with anything anymore. And the wife comes by and she's like, yeah, did you notice that the alarm system doesn't work anymore, that the lights don't work anymore on the front of the house, that the windows don't lock anymore? Did you notice any of that? And that the faucet in the bathroom is leaking, and that the toilet is broken. Did you notice any of that? And he's like, yep, I noticed the hell out of all of it. Could you imagine being proud of being a noticer? And they all do it. They have like this wink, wink. They're like, I notice. I'm a noticer. I notice it all. I notice it hardcore. I notice it furiously. I'm a noticer. You know what more? I even named the thing I notice. That sink is broken. Those windows won't lock. There, I said it. I noticed it and I named it. Now I'm going to go sit back on my fat ass, or skinny ass, emaciated ass, AIDS-ridden ass, whatever the hell they have. You just go be a noticer and a namer, and then go vex the people like the little gatekeeping subversives you are, and go slander them so that you can prevent people from rising to white well-being, and you can run off as many good white people as possible. Just go keep doing that. I can't wait until we have so many more folks and we just crush this. You know, if we do nothing else but crush all of these ideas that use the well-being of white people as a pretext to do what they do, we would free the white race. It would be over like this for anti-whites. White people would immediately come to these groups that right now they think, like, if I'm ever going to get involved in anything like that, they would be here going free in a minute. Lunder said, NWG, no white girl clips should clip that. Yeah, that would be a good clip. You're right. Santa Claus is here. Is that it for everybody? I'm going to get back to work. I got things to do for white well-being. JK160 look, just shows up while I'm like, all right, so bye, everybody. That's funny. That's what the replay button is for. Oh, we have the great First Last himself, ladies and gentlemen. $15 financial gift. God bless you, good brother. With those $15, he says, Doctorate of Doom. Yes, that's what they have. The Doctorate of Doom. That's what these people are all. They've studied the Doom for so many years. And they're like, I know all the Doom. I've got a doctorate in Doom. My God. It is so wearying dealing with. Thank you for that, good brother. You're right. Doctorate of Doom. So wearying dealing with these subversives, gatekeeping subversives. That's all they are. I'm noticing I name. All right. I will be back probably for a short tomorrow. And then on Sunday, I will be back for our Going Free. So make sure you are here and you're ready for the fun that we are going to have. And I think we'll roll out on, what did we, oh yeah, we'll give you the Winter Scene by the great FourCornersG.F.C. And let me make sure this volume is okay. I don't want to blow my ears out. And we will see you all on, where's the Winter Scene? We'll see you all then maybe tomorrow for a short. So remember, on the shorts, Roland Shorts, I do not see the live chat. I really don't see it because it's so short. But please feel free to converse with other people in the live chats. And then absolutely on the Sunday, and we're going to rock the shit out of it. So be there. I'll be looking for you. Roll.